Sulzer has remarked that the stage has arisen from an irresistible longing for the new and extraordinary. Man, oppressed by divided cares, and satiated with sensual pleasure, felt an emptiness, or want. Man, neither altogether satisfied with the senses, nor forever capable of thought, wanted a middle state, a bridge between the two states, bringing them into harmony. Beauty and aesthetics supply that for him, but a good lawgiver is not satisfied with discovering the bent of his people. He turns it to account as an instrument for higher use, and hence he chose the stage as giving nourishment to the soul without straining it, and uniting the noblest education of the head and heart. The man who first pronounced religion to be the strongest pillar of the state unconsciously defended the stage when he said so in its noblest aspect. The uncertain nature of political events, rendering religion a necessity, also demands the stage as a moral force. Laws only prevent disturbances of social life. Religion prescribes positive orders, sustaining social order. Law only governs action. Religion controls the heart and follows thought to the source. Laws are flexible and capricious. Religion binds forever. If religion has this great sway over man's heart, can it also complete his culture? Separating the political from the divine element in it, religion acts mostly on the senses. She loses her sway if the senses are gone. By what channel does the stage operate? To most men, religion vanishes with the loss of her symbols, images, and problems. Yet, they are only pictures of the imagination and unsolvable problems. Both laws and religion are strengthened by union with the stage, where virtue and vice, joy and sorrow, are thoroughly displayed in a truthful and popular way, where a variety of providential problems are solved, where all secrets are unmasked, all artifice ends, and truth alone is the judge, as incorruptible as Rhadamanthus, where the influence of civil laws ends, that of the stage begins, where venality and corruption blind and bias justice and judgment, and intimidation perverts its ends. The stage seizes the sword and scales and pronounces a terrible verdict on vice. The fields of fancy and of history are open to the stage. Great criminals of the past live over again in the drama, and thus benefit an indignant posterity. They pass before us as empty shadows of their age. We heap curses on their memory, while we enjoy on the stage the very horror of their crimes. When morality is no more taught, religion no longer received, or laws exist, Medea will still terrify us with her infanticide. The sight of Lady Macbeth, while it makes us shudder, will also make us rejoice in a good conscience when we see her, the sleepwalker, washing her hands and seeking to destroy the awful smell of murder. Sight is always more powerful to man than description, hence the stage acts more powerfully than morality or law. But in this, the stage only aids justice. A far wider field is really open to it. There are 1,000 vices unnoticed by human justice, but condemned by the stage. So, also, 1,000 virtues overlooked by man's laws are honored on the stage. It is thus the handmaid of religion and philosophy. From these pure sources, it draws its high principles and the exalted teachings, and presents them in a lovely form. The soul swells with noblest emotions when a divine ideal is placed before it. When Augustus offers his forgiving hand to Cinna, conspirator, and says to him, "Let us be friends, Cinna," what man, at the moment, does not feel that he could do the same? Again, when Francis von Sickenden, proceeding to punish a prince and redress a stranger, on turning, sees the house where his wife and children are, in flames, and yet goes on for the sake of his word. How great humanity appears, how small the stern power of fate. Vice is portrayed on the stage in an equally telling manner. Thus, when old Lear, blind, helpless, childless, is seen knocking in vain at his daughter's doors, and in Tempest, at night, he recounts by telling his woes to the elements, and ends by saying, "I have given you all." How strongly impressed we feel of the value of filial piety, and how hateful ingratitude seems to us. The stage does even more than this. It cultivates the ground where religion and law do not think it dignified to stop. Folly often troubles the world as much as crime, and has been justly said that the heaviest loads often hang suspended by the slightest threads. Tracing actions to their sources, the list of criminals diminish, and we laugh at the long catalogue of fools. In our sex, all forms of evil emanate almost entirely from one source, and all our excesses are only varied in higher forms of one quality, and that a quality which in the end we smile at and love. And why should not nature have followed this course in the opposite sex too? In man, there is only one secret to guard against depravity, that is, to protect his heart against wickedness. Much of all this is shown up on the stage. It is a mirror to reflect fools and their thousand forms of folly, which are there turned to ridicule. It curves vice by terror, and folly still more effectually by satire and jest. If a comparison be made between tragedy and comedy, guided by experience, we should probably give the palm to the latter, as the effects produced. Hatred does not wound the conscience so much as mockery does the pride of man. We are exposed especially to the sting of satire by the very cowardice that shuns terrors from sins we regarded by law and conscience, but the ludicrous is especially punished on the stage, where we allow a friend to correct our morals. We rarely forgive a laugh. We may bear heavy judgment on our transgressions, but our weaknesses and vulgarities must not be criticized by a witness. The stage alone can do this with impunity, chastising us as the anonymous fool. We can bear this rebuke without a blush, and even gratefully. But the stage does even more than this. It is a great school of practical wisdom, a guide for civil life, and a key to the mind in all its sinuosities. It does not, of course, remove egoism and stubbornness and evil ways, for a thousand vices hold up their heads in spite of the stage, and a thousand virtues make no impression on cold-hearted spectators. Thus, probably, Mulieres Harpagon never altered a usurer's heart, nor did the suicide in Beverley save any one from the gaming table, nor again is it likely that the high roads will be safer through Karl Moore's untimely end. But, admitting this, and more than this, still how great is the influence of the stage. It has shown us the vices and virtues of men with whom we have to live. We are not surprised at their weaknesses. We are prepared for them. The stage points them out to us, and their remedy. It drags off the mask from the hypocrite and betrays the meshes of intrigue. Duplicity and cunning have been forced by it to show their hideous features in the light of day. Perhaps the dying Sarah may not deter a single debauchee, nor all the pictures of avenged seduction stop the evil. Yet unguarded innocence has been shown the snares of the corrupter and taught to distrust his oaths. The stage also teaches men to bear the strokes of fortune. Chance and design have equal sway over life. We have to bow to the former, but we control the latter. It is a great advantage if inexorable facts do not find us unprepared and unexercised, and if our breast has been steeled to bear adversity. Much human woe is placed before us on the stage. It gives us momentary pain in the tears we shed for strangers' troubles, but as a compensation, it fills us with a grand new stock of courage and endurance. We are led by it with the abandoned Ariadne through the isle of Naxos, and we ascend the tower of starvation in Ugolino. We ascend the terrible scaffold, and we are present at the awful moment of execution. Things remotely present in thought become palpable realities now. We see the deceived favorite abandoned by the queen. When about to die, the perfidious Moor is abandoned by his own sophistry. Eternity reveals the secrets of the unknown through the dead, and the hateful wretch loses all screen of guilt when the tomb opens to condemn him. Then the sage teaches us to be more considerate to the unfortunate and to judge gently. We can only pronounce on a man when we know his whole being and circumstances. Theft is a base crime, but tears mingle with our condemnation when we read what obliged Edward Rugberg to do the horrid deed. Suicide is shocking, but the condemnation of an enraged father, her love, and the fear of a convent led Marianne to drink the cup, and few would dare to condemn the victim of a dreadful tyranny. Humanity and tolerance have begun to prevail in our time at courts of princes and in courts of law. A large share of this may be due to the influence of the stage in showing men his secret motives. The great of the world ought to be especially grateful to the stage, for it is here alone that they hear the truth. Not only man's mind, but also his intellectual culture, has been promoted by the higher drama. The lofty mind and the ardent patriot have often used the stage to spread enlightenment. Considering nations and ages, the thinker sees the masses enchained by opinion and cut off by adversity from happiness. Truth only lights up a few minds, who perhaps have to acquire it by the trials of a lifetime. How can the wise ruler put these within the reach of his nation? The thoughtful and the worthier section of the people diffuse the light of wisdom over the masses through the stage. Pure and better principles and motives issue from the stage and circulate through society. The night of barbarism and superstition vanishes. I would mention two glorious fruits of the higher class of dramas. Religious toleration has latterly become universal. Before, Nathan the Jew and Saladin the Saracen put us to shame, and showed that resignation to God's will did not depend on a fancied belief of his nature. Even before Joseph II, contented with the hatred of a narrow piety, the stage had sown seeds of humanity and gentleness. Pictures of fanaticism had taught a hatred of intolerance, and Christianity, seeing itself in this awful mirror, washed off its stains. It is to be hoped that the stage will equally combat mistaken systems of education. This is a subject of the first political importance, and yet none is so left to private whims and caprice. The stage might give stirring examples of mistaken education, and lead parents to juster, better views of the subject. Many teachers are led astray by false views, and methods are often artificial and fatal. Opinions about governments and classes might be reformed by the stage. Legislation could thus justify itself by foreign symbols, and silence doubtful aspirations without offense. Now, if poets be patriotic, they could do much on the stage to forward invention and industry. A standing theatre would be a material advantage to a nation. It would have a great influence on the national temper and mind by helping the nation to agree in opinions and inclinations. The stage alone can do this, because it commands all human knowledge, exhausts all positions, illumines all hearts, unites all classes, and makes its way to the heart and understanding by the most popular channels. If one feature characterized all dramas, if the poets were allowed an aim, that is, if they selected well and from national topics, there would be a national stage, and we should become a nation. It was this that knit the Greeks so strongly together, and this gave them the all-absorbing interest in the Republic and the advancement of humanity. Another advantage belongs to the stage, one which seems to have become acknowledged even by its censorers. Its influence on intellectual and moral culture, which we have till now been advocating, may be doubted, but its very enemies have admitted that it has gained the palm over all other means of amusement. It has been of much higher service here than people are often ready to allow. Human nature cannot bear to be always on the rack of business, and the charms of sense die out with their gratification. Man, pressed by appetites, weary of long exertion, thirsts for fine pleasure, or rushes into dissipations that hasten his fall and ruin and disturb social order. Bacchanal joys, gambling, follies of all sorts, disturb only, are unavoidable if the lawgiver produces nothing better. A man of public business who has made noble sacrifices to the state is apt to pay for them with melancholy, the scholar to become a pedant, and the people brutish without the stage. The stage is an institution combining music with instruction, rest with exertion, where no faculty of the mind is overstrained, no pleasure enjoyed at the cost of the whole. When melancholy gnaws the heart, when trouble poisons our solitude, when we are disgusted with the world, and thoughts and worries oppress us, or when our energies are destroyed by overexercise. The stage revives us. We dream of another sphere. We recover ourselves. Our torpid nature is roused by noble passions. Our blood circulates more healthily. The unhappy man forgets his tears, weeping for another. The happy man is calm, secure, made provident. Effeminate natures are steeled, savages made man, and, as the supreme triumph of nature, men of all clanks, zones, and conditions, emancipated from the chains of conventionality and fashion, fraternized here by universal sympathy, forget the world, and come nearer to their heavenly destination. The individual shares in the general ecstasy, and his breast has not only space for an emotion. He is a man.